Okay, so we've got Richard on the line. We've got Kelly Walker here, Nick Brash. We've got Joe joining us from Florida. Brent Lamming I see on as a guest. Hi, Brent. We've got Lawrence on, Elia, and David Helwig. Tara's joining us. And did I get Nick? Yeah. Excellent. So I think that covers everyone on the line today. Can I get a motion to remove the approval of minutes from the Thursday, October 21st meeting, please?
Joe moved it.
Richard will move.
No, Joe moved it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And do I have a seconder? Kelly? All in favor? Okay, approval of the 21st minutes passed. I'm assuming everyone's had a chance to review the open agenda. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interests? No. Okay, so moving on, Richard, will you be doing the financial updates?
Can I don't have.
My apologies to the board here. Clerks just came in. We're trying to deal with Mark Brown trying to get into the meeting. So just bear with us here for just a couple moments.
Okay.
Hey, just so everybody knows, I will have to step away for maybe about 15 minutes just to bring my parents back from an appointment. But I'll log back in if I lose connection, okay?
Okay, thanks, Elia. Can I get for you?
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, we're a member of the public would like to participate, and for whatever reason, the call-in number isn't working for him. So that being said, Beverly, we can continue as is, and clerks is dealing with that request.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Just a matter of public interest here. Is the gentleman, why doesn't he just call in until we get the video going so we can start the meeting?
He is attempting to call in and has all the meeting details, but unfortunately he's having some challenges. But Joe, the clerk's office gave us the go ahead to proceed.
Good enough. Richard, did you want to go with the financial update?
Okay, well, I mean, I'm on the balance. I guess is at October 31st, we had cash in the bank of 733,000. We've got accounts receivable, which would be our HST rebate, and that's 21,000. So total assets is 754. As far as revenue is concerned, there's a number of payments that have been made. There was the payment from 2020 MAT transfer that came into our coffers for 380. There was a MAT transfer in 2021 for just under 300,000, and EDC didn't spend all of the money that they received in 2021, so that got transferred to us, as well as the FedNor money, which we've spent some in 2020, and then we spent the balance in 2021, and that was principally on our advertisement. So to date, we've spent to October 31st, we've spent 247,000. And so we have a surplus of 744,000 as of October 31st.
Excellent, thank you. Yes, Joe?
Yes, when do we have our final payment from City of the Mat for 2021? Is it in January or at the end of December, Richard?
Well, it probably will be sometime in the new year, because part of the calculation, if you remember correctly, Joe, is part of that calculation is based on the Ontario receipts that occur in that data, believe it or not, hasn't been released yet. So part of our funding relies on whatever that percentage increase is. So, I mean, I'm estimating it might be like 4%, as it was for 2000, well, that affected our 2020 year. And it also depends on how much MAT tax we actually collect, but I think we will be in excess of what we'll be entitled to under the provincial legislation.
Probably at the end of January, February.
I'm guessing so, yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you, Richard. Okay, so moving on to new business. We've reordered a couple of things here, so we're going to start with item on the agenda number B, board member vacancy, and have a quick conversation regarding the vacancy of Rod Duharme, who has been absent for a few meetings now. Richard or Travis, would you like to?
We don't
Sorry,
have the
Beverly.
audio.
Yeah, Bev, I think you just cut out.
I don't know if she can hear us. Tara, can you message Beverly to just tell her that her audio cut out? Because I don't think she can hear us either.
I can now.
Oh, okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So thanks for the introduction, Beverly. As mentioned, we've had a board member who's been absent for well over 3 meetings at this point, and it's built into our bylaws and committees of council bylaws overall that if you're absent for 3 meetings or more, you can be removed from the board. Staff has made numerous attempts to reach out to Mr. Duharme with no success. So we've discussed this matter with Beverly and Richard, and also clerks, and our recommendation and our intent is to move forward with removing Rod as a board member, and then posting for a new board member in January of 2022. Not sure if there's any questions on that front.
Has anyone found out where he is now? I understand he's up in working for the Missinaba Cree Band in some capacity, and he's out of the city.
That's our understanding as well. We've left voicemails and a number of emails for him over the past couple of months, and have yet to hear from him.
I would assume we need a board resolution for that, Joe, in order to occur.
I absolutely, but I'm not giving legal advice.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, my internet cut out there again. We were discussing the call for Rod's posting.
Have you got a draft resolution?
Well, I don't know if everybody can hear me here, but just to be clear, in speaking with clerks, they did not feel that a resolution was needed based on the bylaws for committee of council. I think there was, very clear direction on our side from clerks. But if there is a desire, and probably appropriately so, to if that gives the board comfort to make a resolution, then so be it.
I don't have my memorandum of understanding here, but that appointment is made by City Council. And under the terms of the memorandum of understanding, do you require a recommendation from the board to go to City Council to replace Mr. Duham as a director or board member? I don't have it in front of me.
Nor do
We
I.
don't appoint them and we don't remove them, but do we make a recommendation? That's the question. Otherwise, I don't know why it's on the agenda, with all due respect.
It was on the agenda so that the board had knowledge of the fact that this was going to happen prior to the city putting out a posting for a board member and people on the board not having knowledge of it. Okay, Travis, do you want to follow up with the city clerks on whether or not they want a resolution for us? If not, we can move forward with.
Sure, yeah,
their
I'll
next
clarify
steps.
again, the last conversation, Beverly, as you're aware, clerks did
Yeah.
not require a resolution. It was strictly for information purposes, so the board wasn't caught off guard, but I can clarify one more time.
Well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, at the end of the day, was the city going to remove Rod Duham and appoint someone else without notifying us ahead of time as to what was happening?
Yes.
With all due respect to the clerk's office, someone has to report the fact that there's non-compliance by Rod Duham, and it's got to be the board here. And so if he's not compliant and we recommend that he be replaced by a new appointee, I think a resolution has to be forthcoming. Otherwise, how does the city council, the city of Sault Ste. Marie, know that other than take it upon yourself, Mr. Anderson, to tell them that without board approval? I mean,
Yeah, Joe, just to be clear, we had been in conversation with both Richard and Beverly about this matter for quite some time before going to clerks.
But
again, it's not a board decision. It's an executive decision that makes a recommendation to the board, right? I don't want to be difficult here, but we're not just rubber stamping something that, the staff has decided upon. I think there should be a resolution by the board recommending to City Council that there be a replacement for Mr. Duham, who has been defaulted his attendance. Anyways, I'll leave it at that, sir.
Sorry, just give me one moment here.
And sorry, Beverly, just while you're doing that, to be clear, if the board would like to make a resolution, I have absolutely no issues with that. It's not my position to get involved with those decisions.
Are those applications that people have to fill out, Bev, to apply for the role, or can we nominate somebody?
No, there are applications that they would fill out. I believe that they get posted on the City of Sault Ste. Marie website, the same as any other boards throughout the community.
Okay, so if we had somebody in mind, just tip them off.
Yeah.
To apply. Awesome.
Yeah, and I don't know, sorry, my internet here is sketchy, I guess, today. Travis, did you mention that the position that we would be calling for is a community at large as opposed to a hotelier posting?
That's correct.
Okay. So if we were to put a resolution, I just wrote something quick here. Be it resolved that the Board of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommends to the City of Sault Ste. Marie that board member Rod Duham be removed from his position and a call for a new board member be instated due to his lack of recent attendance of meetings. Is there any
I'll
other
move it.
wording that you'll
I'll
move that?
Yes, thank you.
Joe, a seconder? Nick? All in favor? Thank you. Motion passed. Alana, I'll send you the wording that I had there.
Very good
Okay.
drafting. Very good
Pardon?
drafting. Very good drafting.
On the fly. Okay, so moving on, next, we're gonna move the product development planning session to the end, so that if Joe has to skip out, he can do so. And we'll move on next to the 2020 budget so that we can have some conversation around the monies and where we're looking at allocating things before we have further conversation about spending the money.
And not to complicate things further, Bev, I'm sorry. I gotta scoot out of here by 1:45.
Oh yeah, you will be good by 1:45.
Awesome.
Travis, I will turn it back over to you, or Richard, were you doing the budget?
No, Travis has got the budget.
Hi,
Okay,
Travis.
thank you. Tara, I'll either need you to grant us permission to share our screen, or if you have the budget open, then please feel free to share your screen.
Okay, I can share it for you.
Thank you.
Just 1 second here. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Tara. So I'm going to walk through the budget in fairly quick order here. So we're looking at, for 2022, the number that finance has provided us at this point in time is we're estimating a MAT revenue of $763,788.18. So we've based the 2022 budget off of that revenue at this point in time. And it does not include, at this point, the transfer of 2021 funds that are unspent. So this is strictly new funds for 2022. So we've looked at, in terms of expenditures, we've got group sales, travel and training. So this is the attendance of conferences, sales conferences, any associated travel with those conferences. And we've got a dollar amount of $36,600. With materials and supplies, this includes, would include items such as insurance, legal fees, audits, etc., as well as office supplies. We're looking at just over 36,000, or sorry, just over 26,000. And then we've given a detailed breakdown of the marketing, as we figured this would be one of the items of most interest to the board members here. So we've allocated $2,500 for website maintenance and updates. So this is for the new Tourism Sault Ste. Marie website. Staff can do the bulk of the modifications and updates to it, but in the event that we require support from from Cabera, we would need some funds available to be allocated to that. Similar to this year, we've allocated $55,000 for the development of the guidebook. And again, those costs would be potentially reduced depending on ad sales for the traveler guide. In terms of spring campaign, so Q2 marketing, we're looking at nearly $54,000 for media purchases and buys over this Q2 period. And then as we head into the summer marketing, including some of the fall campaigns for the train, Coastal Superior, and the mountain biking trails that we've developed, we're proposing to allocate $120,000 for that. And then similar to this year for the winter campaign, we're looking at $70,000. And then for creative, including photo assets, video, ad development, and equipment, we're looking at allocating $20,000. And we've also included $34,000 for FAM tours, which is bringing writers and or media representatives, including TV and writers up to the area. So we're looking at, for marketing and promotion, just over $355,000. This is up from last year. Last year's budget, we had allocated 270,000 for this this line item. But we felt that, you know, obviously one of the items now that we have some additional funds that we wanted to allocate some more money to. Beyond that, we are looking for some funds to support us with bid development. So this would be bid fees for you know, whether it be sporting events or other events. We've allocated $40,000 at this point in time. You know, if we're working with community partners, we would direct them to the TDF, but this would be, you know, a pool of money for us to advance various bids on our own. And in terms of general development, so this would be it's undefined at this point in time, but could be any element of product development or you know, festival development, etc. We've allocated 270,000 for that line item. And lastly, we have 35,000 and change for membership fees and subscriptions for a total of, as mentioned, nearly 764,000. So Richard, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else to this or just like to open it up for questions.
No, I think that's like, I don't think I need to add anything further at this time.
Can I ask a question?
Any board members with questions regarding any of the line items here on the budget or looking for further clarification?
Go
I
ahead,
have one
Lawrence.
question. Where does the TDF fit into this budget, or does it? Is it a separate fund?
Lawrence, it would be a separate fund. So this would be the funds going to Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, the board, and then any mat collections in addition to this would be split 50-50 between the Tourism Development Fund and the city share.
Thank you.
And as a matter of interest, I guess, is that Tourism Development Fund at October 31st, I think Shelley said there was 438,000 left. Am I correct in saying that? Yeah.
I believe that's correct. I don't have the number directly in front of me, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Kelly?
You're muted.
Still muted.
3 times a charm. The money's allocated for Q3. Just a question with the season kind of naturally protecting itself. Obviously, we have an influx of tourists that visit our community already. Is there a reason why we wouldn't perhaps spend some of that money in the softer seasons? So just looking at reallocating some of those funds into our softer seasons. Just wondering if that was discussed and what kind of what the outcome was of those conversations.
Sorry, Kelly. Absolutely. I mean, that's open for discussion. If the board would like us to reallocate funds, we you know, kind of position that with additional funds during that period, given you know, historic spending for marketing the train. But you know, there's a lot of flexibility there. I mean, as we head into early summer, you know, that's when the bulk of our marketing would go towards the train. But I fully understand your position and agree with it. So if the board would like us to revisit where that money is allocated, you know, we'd be happy to do so.
I think ultimately it's really about, you know, making sure that Sault Ste. Marie evolves into a year-round destination, and that's been the struggle. So just really looking maybe to have that conversation and see what some of the other opinions of the board members might be at this time.
No, I would tend to agree with that, Kelly. So you're looking at the 120 from Q3 and thinking that some of it should maybe be split a little bit further into Q2 and Q4.
sorry. I believe that we are a destination in the summer already.
Mhm.
And by reallocating some of those funds into our softer seasons would help us to drive some more attention into our market when we need it the most.
No, I can agree with that. Do any of the other board members have thoughts or, you know, how much you'd like to see pulled back from that summer and reallocated? Or maybe just split more evenly between the quarters?
I have a comment. Is part of the money that we have allocated for Q3, is that including the commitments we have to marketing the tour train?
Dawn, it was with the assumption that we would be doing marketing for the train. We don't have any commitments or agreements that require us to at this point in time. You know, this is just a budget proposed by staff for the, you know, for Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. So it's at the discretion of the board where they want to see the money spent.
Okay, no, I'm just going, I guess, on things that we've done previously. We would commit so much money between offsetting the train tickets for the capacity and all that kind of stuff. I think that all fell under marketing money. So I'm wondering if the budget was structured in that way, making that assumption. Because I mean, if we commit the money somewhere else at this point in the game, and then those train commitments come back up, you know, are we going to be running short, so to speak?
Just to speak to that briefly here, Don. Last year, you know, when we were assuming that you know, the train was going to be running at full force in the fall, we had allocated the funds for the support for the train under general development. So, you know, I think it was broader support that included marketing.
All right.
So Travis, can you confirm if we look at this, are we able to shift some of those allocations as long as they're still within marketing once this budget's been approved?
Absolutely. And for the
Okay.
purpose of bringing it to City Council, we'll roll up all the white items. So the only thing that we'll be presenting will be the bigger line items. So group sales, materials and supply, marketing and promotion, bid support, and general development and membership fees. So they won't, we provided additional detail for the board here, but council won't necessarily see all that information unless they'd like to request it. It will be available to them, but in terms of our presentation to the board, you know, we wouldn't necessarily show all those details.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Under the general development, we've got $270,000. The general feeling that I have from the earlier comments this morning is that the allocation for marketing appears to be rather limited if in fact, A, you want to grow the market for the city of Sault Ste. Marie throughout the year, not just the tour train season. Secondly, if you've got some special commitments that you want to pursue with respect to the tour train, the allocation of marketing and promotion of $355 when you have undefined $270,000 seems to me to be perhaps shortchanging the purpose of us receiving these MAT funds, that we should allocate some more money, bearing in mind that we want to expand the market for people to appreciate Sault Ste. Marie. I'm assuming that $270,000 was not just a guess, or is it just a slush fund for future development? And if it is a slush fund undefined, can we put another couple of $100,000 or 150,000 towards marketing to do what is necessary in that area for times other than the tour train season?
So Joe, just to respond to your question here, I mean, I think there's a couple of things. One, there will be a carryover of funds from 2021 that could be allocated to, you know, any one of these line items. Secondly, with respect to general development, we didn't want to present any specific projects at this point in time because we wanted to, and Alana's going to speak to this a little bit further. You know, the board has identified some key priorities. We wanted to flush out some additional details on what those key priorities could be, and then have the board recommend to staff which ones they wanted to advance. So at this point, you know, rather than us put, you know, here's what we think you should put your.
Excuse me, Travis. If you already have some plans to utilize those $270,000 and you know, flush out some others, are you telling me that the $270,000 more or less in general terms has been earmarked for future matters that are under consideration?
Certainly it could be, and certainly there could be, you know, potentially additional funds that are carried over from 2021, but we would look for a recommendation from the board on as to how to spend that money.
What about for insurance and legals and so on? Is that under materials and supplies?
Yes, we included it under materials and supplies, which is consistent with our general ledger codes on the city's accounting. So that's why we included it under there.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions.
Okay. Any other questions for the board? Don or Nick? Okay, so can we call for a motion on this then? Be it resolved that the Board of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie endorsed the 2022 tourism budget as presented, and then the budget be presented to City Council for approval. Do I have a mover?
I can move it.
Richard?
I will second.
Nick? Okay, and all in favor? Motion passed. Okay, so the next item will be the downtown trolley.
Hey, Beverly, for this one, we're going to transfer the presentation over to Brent Lamming, who's here as a guest today. And Tara, if you could give Brent permission to share his screen, that would be great. And, over to you, Brent.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Thank you, Beverly. Can everyone see my screen today?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for giving the opportunity for me to present here today. We have some results to share with the tourism board. This is a committee of council, the trolley committee that was established. So this is the results of going out for requests for information. For those of you that may not be familiar with that, it differs a bit from the request for proposal process or a tendering process, where a tendering process involves meeting specifications for the lowest price bid, and an RFP process goes through an evaluation criteria. This process that the trolley committee went through was to go out to try to get some information on different opportunities that were available to service the downtown core and a continuous loop throughout the downtown. There were 3 submissions that were brought forward as ideas for downtown. One is Hometown Manufacturing. They are a trolley producer. One was a company named Driver Seat that you may be familiar with. There are some ties to Sault Ste. Marie. And then the other third company was Navia Inc., and they're an autonomous vehicle solution provider. The very first one is a third generation trolley manufacturer, and they offer trolleys and they produce trolleys. They do not operate the service. They did in their presentation feel that it would service well three categories of the demographic, one being the residents of Sault Ste. Marie, the downtown businesses, and visitors to the site in general. They had three different types of options to deliver with their trolley capacity. The first one being their smaller option, which is a 10 to 22 seat trolley. And it is fully AODA compliant. It does have the sound system on board and fully compliant. So that's their first and smaller type light duty option that they have. Their second type option is more mid duty, and the only way it really differs is in size, and it seats 14 to 40, and they call that the Villager. And the third and final option is their largest unit, which is a heavy duty option, and that seats up to 28 and 40 people comfortably. Again, you can see the accessible option right there to provide for accessible needs that would be great to service the community. They stated in their proposal that, or in their, I should say, in their information, that on their case studies, it's helped increase ridership 30% from their perspective in some of the places they've had deployment, like Gatlinburg, Laguna Beach, Virginia Beach, and Las Olmos. So that was the first provider, and that was a bit of a recap of what they provided. The second one is more of an extensive an approach through driver seat, which they would combine a purpose-built fleet while seeking out newer transportation and technology to position the service more for the future. They do have a deep understanding, as I said, with the local business layout here in Sault Ste. Marie, and they would focus again on the transit, tourism, and lake holder standpoint for doing the service. It'd be a fully managed downtown shuttle service, so it'd be a little different than the hometown where they provide the product, whereas driver seat would manage the service from start to finish in a safe and efficient manner. They do have examples of having similar deployments, and the most comparable one they provided to us was through Owen Sound. And it was through Owen Sound to Orangeville, the Blue Mountains and Wyerton, and they also added another additional route to Flesherton, Durham, Hanover, Walkerton, and Saugeen Shores through that project. They did suggest some times for operation, 8 to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and also through Friday and Saturday. The committee, when they got this information, thought that was a bit interesting because a lot of the tourists, as you're well aware, are serviced on evenings and on weekends. So I'm sure they would work together with the city and tourism to take that information into account. And they'd have a fully functioning on-demand micro transit, similar type of technology. Everyone's probably familiar with the on-demand service we have here right now that's deployed. So it'd be in a similar fashion to that using an app type technology. The first type of unit they would be suggesting is a smaller size unit with a forward accessible type unit that would seat 12 people, and it could be branded to whatever type fashion that the city would like to see in place. And the second unit is a larger unit, 24 passenger capacity vehicle. All these are accessible, compliant. The main thing here is that the app, there's kind of a picture of what their app would look like right here, and some things they wanted to reinforce. That driver seat now is connected in over 400 communities in Canada and the US, and they've been targeting transit and micro transit project and gaining a lot of experience along the way. The third and final solution that was brought forth as a part of the request for information was Navia. They're a leading autonomous vehicle solution. The solution is 100% electric and would go on the fixed route in the downtown core. From the route that was shared as part of the information process, they would suggest 2 shuttles to ensure that they could have numerous pickups and stops along the way for individuals, so that the individuals wouldn't be waiting for a lengthy point in time. Some things they would need to review as part of this is the speed limits, how they would interact with the traffic lights, parking and lane changes, and pedestrian traffic. The one thing with this is that Sault Ste. Marie would be responsible for all the operation of the project, which would also include, even though it's autonomous, is an ambassador on board in case they had to deal with any situations, and also to act as a tour guide. Other things that would have to be taken into consideration is there would be charging infrastructure that would need to come into play with this type of solution. A good outline of how this kind of works is the shuttle in conjunction with pedestrians, your lights, and other cars has sensors, and the shuttle would be recognizing those points of contact along the way. And that's how that type of service works, to see how in conjunction it is with those components. This slide provides a very good example of what the shuttle could and would look like with potential branding that would take place on board. Due to this type of project is very new in its infancy, it is at this point in time a testing type nature product, and you're not allowed to charge for the service. Some past projects you may have been made aware of before is the campus in Detroit, Michigan. In Florida, Fremont Street, which probably sticks out the most to individuals, in Las Vegas, Perth, Australia, and then in France. The one thing with this solution that we are made aware of it, that it is a costly endeavor. It's north of $1 million as a starting point. So it would be a more costly type venture, just we know from research that's been done. And from that component, I believe that Travis shared with the board, the one thing that was put, this was a committee that was set up by council from a resolution that did come forward. I believe when the community development fund was set up, items such as this that have a tourism appeal are put towards the tourism board. And so that's where we are here today. And we wanted to share the three companies' information so the board could review. And there's a resolution there to see if this aligns with the core goals of the tourism committee. And that is the resolution that's before the committee here, the tourism board, I should say, here today. I'm happy to try to answer any questions from what has been presented at this time. Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
First of all, what's the price tag for the proposals? Is there any information that you can give us as to what the cost would be, what the capital cost would be, what would be the operating costs?
Sure,
the concept of quality is fine, and I'm assuming that these three proposals have been considered, weighed, and looked at in terms of cost, maintenance, etc. Or
Sure,
are we still going beyond that? I mean, is that still to come?
Yeah, absolutely. The next phase would be what the trolley committee thought that they leaned towards after receiving this information, because part of the request for information, they don't share costing. That would have to be done through a request for proposal or tendering phase. The trolley committee was leaning more towards the historic type trolley with a very close look at the on-demand solution by driver seat. Now, given city staff have done some research on that, and the resolution, that's where you came up with that $774,000. Now, that would be to purchase a trolley. It includes the operating fees, the technology, the route signage, marketing, and training. So that's where that 774 comes forward. The autonomous shuttle would be well in excess of $1 million, but you'd actually have to go through a request for proposal or tendering process that. And then the on-demand solution, we weren't provided any information, so there's no information on costing for that solution. Now, if the tourism board would recommend that, that'd be something that would have to be done through a tender or RFP process.
Well, I'm just trying to understand what the next step is. If you pass a resolution supporting the trolley concept, beyond that, we really don't have any information as a preferential approach or what have you. I guess I'm trying to understand, from my perspective, what is it that you're looking for in terms of the tourism board resolution? Is it to continue the inquiry as to whether or not we can afford it, and B, which one would be the better arrangement, if you will, or proposal for the city of Sault Ste. Marie to seriously consider.
Yeah, the ask today is actually to have approval, and if it's aligned with the tourism board's priorities, is to have the request of the money allocated towards the project for the trolley project to move forward.
So, and Brent, if you don't mind, I'll just jump in. So the resolution in front of the board identifies the upset limit for the project. So the support from Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, the board is being asked to commit funding for the acquisition and operation costs of the trolley up to $774,000.
Out of what budget? In other words,
That would be at the.
Excuse me, are you asking for a resolution that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie contribute up to that amount, or supports the city expenditure in that amount, and tourism would be participating in that endeavor?
So the recommendation, Joe, would be that the funds come from Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, and it could be a combination. Obviously, there's not enough money in the TDF, so the it could be a combination of funding. But there's two parts to this. One would be, does the trolley align with the priorities of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie? And if the answer is yes, will the board commit up to $774,000
in 1 year?
Brent,
that's what I'm trying to understand. That's what I'm trying to understand here, gentlemen.
That would be
you're asking for a resolution, and if the capital cost is $775,000 or I don't know what that is, or $300,000, you're asking us to approve an amount, but we don't know what proposal you're coming up with in terms of spending that money, and B, what's the operating cost going to be?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't understand this. I really don't.
The total ask over 2 years is $774,000. The operating costs are $147,000 in year one, $147,000 in year two. Technology is $50,000. Signage is $20,000, marketing $30,000, and training of $50,000.
Why don't you share that with us as part of the presentation so that we can look at it and consider it? Right now, you've got three proposals that you outlined to us in general terms. One is an autonomous operation. I don't even know if it would work in Sault Ste. Marie with the snowbanks. And it's out of question in terms of $1 million plus. You've got another proposal involving domestic vehicles. And then you've got one trolley. That breaks down, what do you do? I thought that we were looking at perhaps a situation where you may have your own transit vehicles, and you'd have more than one in case one broke down.
Can I
I
speak
think
to?
it's a crazy proposal. If you got
Can
one
I speak?
trolley.
Can I speak to this proposal for just a second? I mean,
Please, Richard.
realistically, let's look at our budget. We've got $760,000 that's coming in on an annual basis, and we might get 200,000 in good years or better years than what we're currently in adding to our TDF. So you put that together, that's $900,000, and we're going to commit 700,000 of that. It's a no-brainer if you ask me. The answer is we don't have the funds in order to do that, but that's my position.
I'm of similar thoughts, Richard. Do we have any other thoughts from Nick or Don?
I agree too. Thank you, Brent, for the presentation and actually breaking down the operational costs too. Ever since this idea has come up, I've struggled with how we see an ROI on this project to begin with. And, obviously Richard stated and Joe as well, I just don't know if it's feasible for us to commit that much money to something that we would never really have a handle on an ROI from to begin with. My thoughts.
And the only other thing I would like to add is I thought we had already committed a pile of money to the plaza. So is that already is the money that we have available, assuming you know, using Richard's example of $760,000, we've already used some of that, I thought, towards the commitments we've made to the plaza, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a couple $100,000 or something like that.
Yeah, those would be correct thoughts, Don.
So
Because
yeah,
the plaza resolution is also over budget years for 2022 and 2023 with the resolution we have upcoming.
right. So to me, like, if we spend all the money, then we have no money to do anything else. On a essentially, from what I understand, is a pilot project. It's not even a commitment to say do or run some sort of trolley long term.
Yeah, because there's no prospects, Brent, I'm assuming, on the longevity of it. So beyond years 1 and 2, there'd be a further ask.
That's correct.
Okay. I think I'm getting a good consensus from the board here that we don't want to move forward with this. Is there anyone that would like to move it as a motion, or are we going to say, sorry, we can't?
To assist the chair, if I may, you
Please.
can present the resolution and we'll deny it. We say
Sure.
no.
We're
Okay,
almost in that
so
same position where we are supporting, we're supportive of the trolley idea and discussion. We're not supportive of the financial commitment that they're requesting of this board.
okay, so as a resolution, be it resolved that the Board of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie is in support of the concept of a downtown trolley as a priority, however, are unable to commit to the financial ask of $774,000.
I'll move that resolution.
Okay. And do I have a seconder, Kelly? All in favor that we are in support of the trolley as a concept, however, not financials. Motion passed. Okay, moving on, we have, Joe, I know that you're probably tight for time here now.
Go ahead.
The plaza funding was just an amendment to a resolution, so if we want to go ahead with that one here now. The original resolution was, be it resolved that the Board of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie agree to support the City of Sault Ste. Marie Downtown Plaza in the amount of $250,000 to be allocated over the course of 2 years. And we have now amended it to, and the motion will be on, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie agree to support the City of Sault Ste. Marie Downtown Plaza project in the amount of $250,000 to be allocated over the 2022 and 2023 business years in the following allocations. And I believe that we had agreed that we would split it in half between the 2 budget years from the TDF. Is that correct, Richard?
No, we haven't decided which funds it's coming out of.
Okay.
So it can come out of our general fund, it can come out of our TDF. My thoughts is I would like to see $200,000 of it come out of our general funds, simply because at October 31st, we have in our bank account, for lack of a better word, $700,000. We still have probably another $400,000 of MAT funds coming, depending on where we ending up, where the MAT funds do come in for our current year. So that would put us close to over $1 million, depending on what we spend in our general fund. We have $438,000 in the TDF, of which we have a commitment to a tour operator. And do we have another commitment out there as well, Travis, or is that the only commitment that we have?
In addition to the funds that we've already allocated, so I think we had 12,000 for the first 2 groups. which was NerdCon and AMCO. We had 15,000, sorry, for the snowmobile. And then I believe, was it, sorry, Richard, I don't have the exact commitment for the tour boat offhand. I can't recall. That was 50,000 per year.
And so are you, the first two that you mentioned for NerdCon and the other one was AMCO?
Yeah, so it's just over, it was 12,500. Then we had 15. We've got a number of other applications that are coming through, some of which for large money. So 27,000 has been committed, 12.5 of which has been paid out. And I apologize, I cannot for the life of me recall if we committed. I know we committed for 5 years for the tour boat. Yeah, but I can't remember the exact dollar value.
I think that was 25 a year.
25 a year, yeah.
Okay, so the recommendation then is looking like 200,000 from that general account that is rather healthy right now, and the $50,000 remaining come from the TDF. And we would split those between each year. So 100,000 from general for the first year and 25,000 from the TDF for the first year. Does
I have
that
a question.
Yeah.
Richard, why would you oppose using the development fund for the plaza? Wouldn't the additional cash be available for us? The tour boat is a good example. I think, Travis, you've had some recent correspondence in that respect, eh? From
I did, yes.
And the situation is that he's looking at a different boat, and it's a larger boat, and costs a little bit more money, and we're expecting a presentation to be made in that regard.
Yeah, I understand he's updating, they are updating a business plan and may revisit that with the board.
So don't forget, Joe, is those funds are coming out of the TDF. So not out of the general fund. That's why I'm proposing, I mean, our general fund is quite large. So that's why I'm proposing we do it out of the general fund.
But if we want to pursue anything out of the TDF, we require council's approval ultimately. And the general fund, we don't require council's approval as long as it's within our mandate. And what concerns me is that the city of Sault Ste. Marie wants that plaza. We indicated to Tom in his presentation that we would commit funds for a period over the period of 2 years. And since the plaza is a city approved project requiring the financing, I think the city would be more than accommodating to us using the TDF money. So if we have 2 or 3 other proposals, including the tour train, including perhaps even the ski resort that we haven't heard much from because of business conditions, I really would like to increase the marketing activity and the special events and conferences and that kind of thing that we're sort of starting to move in that direction. I don't think $700,000 is enough money to really pursue a robust marketing agenda or work to be done to enlarge, if you will, the market that we service in the tourism and hospitality industry. That's my justification for using the TDF fund rather than the general operating amounts. I think I'd like to be spending more money in other areas, and we've got pretty good staff now. We've got a person for sports and so on, and I don't know if 700,000 is enough in any 1 year. That's my concern.
Well, like I said, as at the end of this year, we're going to have a surplus of over $1 million. So if you just took Travis's budget, if you really want to talk about, we actually have one in our general fund. We have $1.7 million to spend if we want out of our general fund. So if you want to allocate another $100,000 to marketing, the cash is there to do it.
I don't know why the budget was at 700,000. I think that's my concern here. If we have the money to spend in those other areas, I think we should broaden our scope. And if we're keeping it in that $750,000 range in terms of general operating budget and accumulating funds, but not setting them out to work, what are we doing with the money?
Well, that's why I'm suggesting we use 100,000 in 2022 for the plaza and another 100,000 in 2023. So
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, though, we have this much money because I think 2020, we didn't spend any.
That's right.
So it's not like we have the money budgeted year after year. This is just surplus money that we have because of pandemic issues where we didn't put the marketing money out there because we felt that it wasn't worth it considering the travel restrictions and stuff like that. So, like, you know, we got to be careful about making multi-year commitments. And again, I bring this up is that, you know, we really haven't had a big, long discussion or some sort of discussion on formalizing an approval or, you know, a thought process to how we commit multi-year funds. Because yeah, like if I'm not mistaken, in the bylaw, we're only guaranteed the $760,000 from before. If there's surplus, it gets split into the TDFs. The cities, like a city gets half, and I think we get half, which is, like I said, like, you know, to me, that's the money that's directed for tourism infrastructure, where our budget or the original budget of 760,000 is more directed towards marketing and event development and all that kind of stuff. Unless I'm totally out to lunch here or misunderstanding the whole thing.
Beverly, can I address Don's last comment?
Yes, please.
So Don, in the legislation under interpretation, in terms of expenditures for promotion of tourism, it includes the development of tourism products. So that's in the provincial legislation regarding the expenditures related to the municipal accommodation tax. So it does include, it's broader than just marketing.
Okay, but I guess the point is that the surplus we have is surplus because we didn't spend money in 1 year. You know, so it's either if we're gonna, to me, and if I'm gonna use Richard's line of thought here, if we're saying, okay, we got the surplus money, why don't we just cut a check for 250,000 instead of trying to figure out how to fit 125,000 next year, where maybe we don't have the surplus because we spent it in other ways. Like I'm kind of with Joe here in saying, like, I'd rather see more money put on the marketing side than what we've allocated with this surplus money to try to, whether it's develop some sort of, bring back some of the festivals and support some of the festivals that we had started working on, than making, again, multi-year commitments to stuff where, you know, we may not see that initial thing that we want.
So Don, I think, sorry, going back to Richard's point here, that 438,000 that we have in the TDF, that portion is not necessarily the guaranteed side of it. Whereas where we already have a healthy balance in our general fund, that is there. Whereas we're not guaranteed on how much of that 438,000 is going to be going in next year, because that is from our surplus, if I'm not correct.
No, that's not correct. That's not correct.
Okay.
Just to be clear here, the MAT money that's collected by the city of Sault Ste. Marie. The city of Sault Ste. Marie decided that of that, approximately $760,000 would go to the tourism board to replace what we had in terms of the designated marketing fee. And so that is primarily to be used for marketing and promotion. I agree with Travis that the MAT funds are permitted to be used for tourism infrastructure. In the wisdom of the city fathers, they set up the development fund. 50% of the MAT money that goes into the development fund is controlled by the city. The other 50%, apart the 760, is for the tourism board to make recommendations to spend that money with the ultimate approval being the city of Sault Ste. Marie. So if we decided of the MAT money that's in the development fund, for hypothetically speaking, to put that towards a tour boat or a trolley for that matter, and the city council did not like that idea, they would not enforce or accept it. That's the point I'm making. We may decide tomorrow to spend money from the development fund that is not going to be necessarily approved by the city of Sault Ste. Marie. That's what they have, the final approval of that. We have the final approval with respect to spending the $760,000 the way we see fit best for tourism. We don't require additional approval by the city of Sault Ste. Marie, as long as it's within our mandate. So what I'm saying today, let's use the development fund for a project that the city has already approved and needs financing. So they will have no opposition to using that development fund money for the plaza. We still have the other money to do what we think should be done for tourism, whether it's, buying 2 boats, bringing in sports teams, giving deals for conferences up here so that we can get people interested. We can support the ski hill. We can do the tour train, whatever we want to do with it. Nobody can, negate that decision. That's the reason why I'm saying use the development fund money. It's to our advantage to spend the other bundle of money that we control. That's pure and simple.
Travis, can you clarify for me when the asks come in, those are asks that are going to be coming out of our TDF, right? So AMCO, NerdCom, the snowmobile, those all have to come out of the tourism development fund, correct?
That is correct. And
Okay.
We are seeing significant interest in it. We can't quantify it exactly, but we've got preliminary conversations with a number of groups that would be seeking product development funds, which I think depending on how the board votes here, we could be in a point, as Richard pointed out, where, potentially at the end of next year or shortly thereafter, we would not be able to accept all applications that are coming in.
And I think that at the end of the day, that's what the concern is that the account for the TDF is at that 438, and we can't guarantee how much that's going to be replenished in 2022, 2023, and moving forward. So by splitting up some of this, we're not putting the onus entirely on depleting the TDF. Is that, Richard, correct?
I would say yes. And
Okay.
just going back to another part of our unspent that creates the surplus is general development funds last year in our budget, which would included $160,000, I believe was the number to support the tour train, $100,000 for Memorial Cup bid, and something else. I forget what it was. So, I mean, in our budget last year, none of those general development came to fruition. So, so that's one of the reasons why we have a larger surplus.
But to add to Joe's point, though, if we commit the TDF money now on a city approved projects, nothing is stopping us from, say, looking at one of those TDF applications. Okay, we don't have enough money for, but we have money in our general fund that we choose to support without getting the approval of the city. So, you know, to me, it seems like a no-brainer to retain control over the decision without having to go to that extra step. So, you know, for example, if NerdCon came to us next year, say, and we had depleted the TDF funds, well, there's nothing stopping us from using the general funds to say, okay, here, we'll give you the 12 grand that you asked for last year. Right? Am I wrong in making that assumption?
Beverly, would you mind if I speak for just a quick moment?
Yes, please, Travis.
So Don, my only concern there would be, you know, we have a process and procedure in place. You know, if we deviate from that and it's, you know, completely at the board's discretion, that you end up, you know, creating a procedure that's not necessarily fair for everyone. You know, so you may support NerdCon hypothetically, but you may not support UT Stokely. And, you know, I think the TDF is a very clear process and a very fair process. So that would be, you know, my only concern.
Okay.
Call the vote.
Go ahead, Joe.
Call the vote.
Okay. Well, the resolution came down to determining where we were taking the money from. If we go with the recommendation for 200 from the general fund and 50,000 from the TDF, the resolution would read, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie agree to support the City of Sault Ste. Marie Downtown Plaza in the amount of 250,000 to be allocated over 2022 and 2023 budget years in the following allocations: 200,000 from our general development fund, 50,000 from the TDF. Do I have a mover on that motion? Richard? Do I have anyone that is seconding the motion with regards to where the funds are being withdrawn from? Kelly? And favor? Okay, so we're not unanimous on this. We have myself, Kelly, Lawrence, Nick, and Richard in favor, and Joseph and Don are against. That is enough for the motion to pass, though. Sorry, Elia, I didn't have you on there. Where was your vote?
Yeah, I'm really confused at where all this money is like, I'm really confused. The talk of the budget has just kind of really confused me, because we're talking about, we have this surplus, but we're not looking at the surplus, not part of the 760,000, which we get every year to operate Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. And then we have the TDF fund, which is 50-50 split with the City of Sault Ste. Marie. Is that correct? Am I understanding that properly?
So just yeah, I'll let Richard speak to that.
Basically, yes, except for this, the money coming to our general fund is subject to, I won't say inflationary, but there is a factor in the provincial legislation that will potentially increase those funds based on the tourist receipts that are generated in the province of Ontario. So those funds aren't static. They can go up.
Right.
They can't go down.
Okay. Okay. So this surplus that we're talking about, because of the pandemic and the lack of spending there, where does that money go back 50-50 with the city, or does it all just stay in our bank account, for lack of a better word?
It stays in our bank account.
Okay. So why wouldn't we just use that? I guess that would be under the general account, like the
That would-
general.
Yes, that would be that general development that we were asking the 250,000 from.
Right. Okay. So Richard's suggestion was to take the bulk out of the general development and a little bit out of the TDF to support the plaza.
Correct.
Okay. I will vote there.
Okay. Thank you, Ilya. So motion passed on that.
Thank you, everybody, for helping me through that process.
That's okay. Travis, the next item on our agenda is the film marketing position. So I will turn that back over to you here for a presentation.
Okay, thank you. Tara, would you mind sharing the screen? Or sorry, sharing the presentation?
Can everyone see it?
Okay, excellent. So if you could go to slide 2, Tara, if you wouldn't mind. Okay, so I'm going to give a brief overview of current state of film attraction and the film industry in Sault Ste. Marie. So between 2019 and 2021, we had 16 productions that filmed locally here, resulting in over 9,000 room night stays. Between the period of 2019 and 2021, 2020 only had 1 production. So, you know, those numbers aren't exactly consistent across the board. In terms of direct and indirect spend from the productions, we had roughly 8.6 million, and the average annual spend was 4.3 million, and that's when you remove 2020. The majority of the spending occurs within the hospitality sector. In addition to hotels, obviously, we're talking about restaurant and bars because the bulk of those involved with the films are coming from out of town. In addition to this, you know, the city staff facilitated an investment of over $1 million by attracting a post-production or working with a post-production company, Rolling Picture, that relocated or opened a second office in Sault Ste. Marie. They've since hired 7 employees, 6 of which are from Sault College and Algoma University. So we had funding available for this position and the associated marketing through a grant from FedNor, which unfortunately expires December 31st, 2021. And the funding was not available to continue in the 2022 municipal budget. So city staff have been approaching multiple organizations, including the EDC, the City of Sault Ste. Marie through the Community Development Fund, and we are now requesting additional funding from Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. As of yesterday, the Economic Development Board committed $100,000 from their reserve and are also making a positive recommendation allowing city staff to proceed to council with a recommendation to withdraw another $100,000 from the Community Development Fund. We are seeking a recommendation from Tourism Sault Ste. Marie to allocate $50,000 per year for 2 years from the TDF for the purpose of marketing and promotion to support the attraction of film in Sault Ste. Marie. And, you know, just quickly, I think that the marketing promotion and efforts from the attraction of film and television also increases the awareness and reinforces the marketing efforts by Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. So we'll quickly go through the next slide, Tara. So the film coordinator activities is, you know, primary activity is to lead the marketing initiatives specific to film and television attraction, including print ads, social media marketing, production of film and photo assets, highlighting the community. And pre-COVID, staff attended networking events, conducted business attraction activities in Toronto with producers, location scouts, and supporting industries. So this would include, you know, attending film festivals such as TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival, where there'd be advertising for Sault Ste. Marie in that location. Also, networking where promotion occurs as well. Staff also organized familiarization tours with location scouts and producers. So bringing actual producers and location scouts to Sault Ste. Marie to introduce them to the community and highlight the vast array of shooting potential here, and have been working with Ontario Creates and Creative Industries Ontario North to develop marketing packages and photo catalogs for Sault Ste. Marie, which are distributed to film productions and TV productions throughout North America. And they've also support production and pre-production activities, including accessing permits for filming, working with local residents and businesses, and police services for filming. Next slide, please, Tara. So this just a quick breakdown. I've already discussed this in terms of the economic impact, so I'm not going to get into this directly, but you guys can see the overview there. Next slide, Tara. So based on increasing interest by productions to film in Sault Ste. Marie, staff are predicting the following growth. So we're looking at 2022. As of right now, we've got 8 productions tentatively confirmed. We're continuing to grow that number and work with other productions to try to increase that number. Our production numbers for estimates for 2023 would be comparable, close to 6 productions. And then we're looking at growth projections of up to 10 films in 2024 and 12 productions in 2025. Obviously hoping to exceed these numbers, but always look to underpromise and hopefully overdeliver. Growth projections are contingent upon the following: continued support from NOHFC for projects in Sault Ste. Marie and funds available to support marketing, attendance at networking events and business attraction activities. We'll go to the next slide, please, Tara. So in terms of ongoing efforts, we are planning on implementing a robust digital and social media campaign, as well as print marketing campaign, promoting Sault Ste. Marie and its natural beauty and the variety of filming locations. We are aggressively pursuing opportunities to host a TV series. In doing so, that would allow us to have consistent filming, resulting in the development of skilled labor force, and has the potential to attract other businesses to the community, such as equipment providers, soundstage, visual effects, etc. We will also continue our focus on business development activities, pending COVID-related issues. This would continue the face-to-face networking initiatives in Toronto and industry events across North America. Lastly, we'll be working with our industry partners to lobby the provincial government to increase NOHFC funding for films in Sault Ste. Marie. Next slide, please, Tara. So a quick recap: 16 productions in Sault Ste. Marie, 9,000 room nights between 2019 and 2021, spending of roughly $8.6 million. Majority of that, as mentioned, goes into the hospitality sector. And we were seeking a positive recommendation from Tourism Sault Ste. Marie to allocate $50,000 per year for 2 years from the TDF for marketing and promotional purposes to support film attraction to Sault Ste. Marie. And lastly, we believe that attraction efforts for film and television increase awareness about Sault Ste. Marie and reinforce marketing efforts by Tourism Sault Ste. Marie. And with that, I'll conclude my presentation and open it up to any questions. So Joe's got a question.
No, just an observation, Travis. It's not that I haven't discussed this matter as part of the EDC. I'm very supportive of tourism allocating those funds, and this is from the development fund. Is that correct?
That's correct, Joe.
Okay. Now, and this is really a criticism. If we're making all of that money for the city of Sault Ste. Marie, $8 million plus, it's absolutely astounding, and you heard me say this before, it's absolutely astounding to me that the city of Sault Ste. Marie has insufficient funds in their budget for a position either within the development division or tourism division, really doesn't matter, or half and half, whatever. And it has to come in on grants that's now running out. And we're committing this money for 2 years, both at the EDC, and hopefully this board will support it. My concern is, you know, do you get the best and the most enthusiastic by having limited funding of this type of position? And I urge the city of Sault Ste. Marie during this 2-year period to stabilize that position and bring to that position the level of security to attract some real good people. So I ask the board to support this, but I caution the city of Sault Ste. Marie that this can't be a sort of, you know, something every 2 years you have to address, because you're not going to get a long-term commitment from staff to come here and work in this department and advance it in areas that have to go. You have to deal with the funding issues. Movies come here because they get money from government. And that's the problem that we have in relation to North Bay and even Sudbury now. So we need to grow that department. Let's have the city of Sault Ste. Marie, including yourself and Tom Vare and others, to stabilize and enhance that position. But I ask the board to really help us out and support this.
Travis, how far out do these typically go on the books? So you're looking at 2022 and you've got a few earmarked. Do they typically move like 2 years out that they would put them on the books?
The productions
Yeah.
tend to come up, you know, anywhere from probably closer in the range of 6 months. You know, it's sometimes shorter than that. It depends what it is. I mean, we've heard of some that you know, indicate that they're going to come to Sault Ste. Marie, you know, within 2 months or less of filming.
Okay, I think I'm just looking at the permanency factor, but you know, forecasting, you know, what we might see in 2024, 2025, but this is still looking only, as Joe referred to, as a 2-year position. It's not a permanent commitment on necessarily on this position. Is the city seeing it, or is it being looked at as a permanent position and they're just looking for funding to get through 2 years, or?
It's in consideration. I mean, we were looking at it as a pilot project. Well, it's probably not the best term, but we were looking to prove out the position, you know, as part of the future SSM project. Obviously, COVID had a big impact there. So we're hoping to extend it for 2 years, and obviously staff and council will be looking at that position at some point potentially.
Yeah,
Any-
but is the development department looking at it seriously to make it a permanent position? I mean, to me, it's astounding.
Have a question?
That's a question, yes.
Joe, that's one I can't answer at this point. I know there's a lot of discussion about that matter. You know, obviously this year within the budget, it's not something that we could advance, but I know there's a lot of internal discussion, as you're aware, between the EDC and community development staff, including Tom Vare, Rick Van Stavern, and myself.
Travis, any sense as to NOHFC's commitment to continue to fund films in Northern Ontario?
Richard, at this,
I have to go now. There's somebody at my door. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to leave.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
Richard, to answer your question, there's been no indication otherwise, you know, that they're not going to continue that sport that we're aware of. It continues to be something that, you know, we lobby for. I know that through the EDC very recently, there's been, you know, interactions with our local provincial rep about this, you know, and it continues to be an ongoing conversation.
Sorry, I
Kelly?
just did have a question, 2 questions. This film position, is this individual working in conjunction with Tourism Sault Ste. Marie? And the same for the marketing. Is that something that we align you know, our two strategies together, just to make sure we're not counterproductive with marketing at time of year when we don't necessarily need to be marketing. So the summer would be a prime example. If we're marketing through tourism for Q3 and the film is doing the same thing, do we have the accommodations to accommodate the influx of films? So just making sure again that we're aligning our marketing funds in conjunction with one another if we are working as separate entities.
So Kelly, to answer your first question, the position reports into myself. So we've got good alignment there. You know, a lot of the films that we're looking at are coming in, you know, at least over the past couple of years, kind of that January through April timeframe, and a number of them kind of continuing July, August. We've been very mindful about the train season, you know, and trying to ensure that you know, we work with our various partners not to burden the hotel and hospitality sector during that busy time.
Yeah, I love the film industry. I love what it offers our community. Obviously, it's has been by experience a low-rated piece of business, and driving the film into the soft seasons would be amazing. We still struggle with delays of film projects. So while they may be, you know, requesting, you know, their accommodations in March, April, May as an example, they by history have often pushed back to July, August, September. So just something to keep in mind as well.
Thanks, Kelly.
I think we're ready to move forward, possibly on.
Look, I see that Mark Brown has got his hand up, so I don't know whether that means he's got a question or not.
Yeah, Richard, I don't, according to clerks, while it is an open meeting, there isn't necessarily an opportunity for the public to speak.
Okay.
Okay, I guess I will call for a resolution on this. So as it is outlined here, be it resolved that the Board of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommend $100,000 contribution to the Tourism Development Fund product development stream to support film and television marketing. Furthermore, the board recommend the funds to be dispersed $50,000 per year for 2022 and 2023 through the TDF fund, and that a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover on this? Kelly? Nick second? And all in favor? Motion passed. Okay. So going back to the last other item on the agenda was back to the tourism staff update.
Okay, this is where I have to tap out then, folks.
All right, thanks, Nick.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nick. So I'll keep this very brief. You know, a couple of items that I guess first wanted to point out that the September MAC collections were fantastic again. We've exceeded the both now August and September have exceeded the collections that were received in 2019. So that's great to see, and we're fingers crossed, very hopeful that we will also see those numbers continue throughout October. Beyond that, we had the recent announcement that Alana shared regarding the OBAs. That's planned for May 2020, roughly a estimated $1 million impact. So it's spread out over 2 weekends, if I'm correct. So the first is U15 boys, and we're estimating 3,600 room nights for that. And the following weekend is U15 girls, roughly 3,200 room nights as well. We've had a lot of interest moving forward in terms of some of the publications we've been seeing, reaching out to here and getting some great earned media. One of which was a Mountain Life magazine, Mountain Life Blue Mountain magazine that did a great article, earned media, unpaid for the local mountain bike trails. And then we also had, moving forward beyond that, we've ordered the wayfinding signage for the snowmobile loop, and that will be installed as soon as the snow arrives. Lastly, last Friday, we were involved with the Spark program. It's a program that provides some small grant money for up and coming tourism products, as well as a mentorship opportunity. So there was a total of 8 groups that submitted their proposals. We distilled it down to 5 for the pitches, and the 3 candidates that were awarded grants were, one was Follower North, which is up in the Hearst area. And we were very fortunate to have 2 approved locally here, including Drive Tours and also Hidden Hills, which is a horseback riding tour group located in Garden River. So we were very happy with that return. And on that, I know everybody's got the dashboard, so I'm going to leave it open to any questions at this point.
I just have one request, if I may.
Did anyone have questions for Travis from anything on the dashboard or what we're looking at upcoming?
I think Don did.
I just wanted to see if I could request, maybe with the next board package, a list of items that we've committed through the TDF, you know, and the length of commitment for those. Just so like, you know, we keep track of, for my own self, to keep track of where we're going with that particular funding envelope.
Great, great suggestion, Don, and we'll make sure that we include that going forward.
Can I just say that the winter article that was just posted was absolutely well done. I have no idea who wrote that or where all the information came from, but I was really impressed with that piece and felt that it really highlighted things other than just skiing, and thought it was a fantastic piece.
Great, that's phenomenal to hear, Beverly. Thank you. Oh, you're muted, Beverly.
Can't hear you, Bev.
She can't hear us either. Beverly, can you hear us? You were we couldn't hear you for the last little bit.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my internet today. Am I back?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Did anybody have any other questions for Travis or Alana with regards to where tourism's at or the staff dashboard here? Nope. Okay, moving into the open discussion portion, is there anything that you guys wanted to bring forward to the board here? No. Okay, so next meeting is tentatively set December the 16th. Do we want to move forward with that at this time, given the proximity to the holidays? I think moving it up a week is putting it pretty close to this meeting here. How is everyone's availability looking? Richard, I know you're said you're flying out.
Zoom works everywhere. Joe just proved it.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're probably good to go ahead with a board meeting for the 16th then, Travis and Alana.
Okay, I suspect that one will be, should be quite brief, so.
Okay. Excellent. Any other business that we wanted to discuss, or can I have a mover to adjourn the meeting? Oh, did I cut out again?
No, you came through.
Okay. Kelly will move. Great, thank you. And a seconder?
Lawrence has his hand up.
Yeah, I'll second.
Sorry, everyone was frozen. Excellent. And all in favor to adjourn? Have a great day, guys.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.